Hello my friends and welcome to my channel. Make yourself a cup of coffee and enjoy the version 1.5. Ah yeah! If you would like to help support this channel and these projects, you can visit me on my website, or you can follow me on my Patreon or buy me a coffee. As you can see, I do update my website with the new scripts. There are now 3: Lighthouse, Narrowband Extract from SETI Astro, and Processing Module Luminosity Masks. For every script there is a video guide just below it. You will see videos for the scripts. Here I have my video of the PixInsight Narrowband Extract and the original video from SETI Astro, so you can see the more technical stuff that he explained what the script does. And that's about it. Let's move to the juicy stuff. So what's new in the version 1.5? Finally some colors. Selective Color. I will explain why I chose this particular tool. Preview region. It's reserved for full resolution images. Shift plus drag. Rotate while drawing a region. It's for masking the select region. You will see that. One tool box to rule them all, so you can only open one box if you want, so it doesn't get crowded here in the menu. Colored sliders. I just designed it better, these color sliders. And drop down, ignore the mouse wheel when you scroll it. You had problems with the menus that have a drop down menu. That's fixed also. Let's show the new stuff from the top down. First of all, you will see this clickable box, one toolbox open at a time. It's actually, when you open this box, it will open just this box, and when you click on another one, it will open just that other one. You can of course disable it, then you will have the ability to open every box and use it as is. I find it useful because it gets too crowded when you're using all the boxes. So that's it. Second option is living inside of full resolution preview. You can use it only on the full resolution images. You just click here to load the full resolution, and then you can press Shift, and with the mouse you can select a region that you want to edit, and it will have a percentage processing while you are loading and unzooming the image. Let's do some options here. Okay, and now when you click full view, it will apply these options on the whole image, but it will give you the percentage while it's doing that, so you know you are in control. As you can see, if the image is big, it will last a bit longer, but now these options are applied on the whole image. That way you can apply it on the part of the image and not wait for the tool to respond on the full resolution image, because it tends to go slow when the resolutions are big. And of course when you hit apply, it will also go to the mode with the percentage, and you can see this is a fast edit. When you add options, it will last longer, so great thing to have. Some of you did ask for this, so here it is, my friends. Let's move on. Look, I made black holes. Cool. This one is a small edition, but it's cool. Go to the luminosity masks, enable it, and when you add a region, you can do this, but you cannot rotate. You can click and hold Control, and then you can rotate the selection. A bit easier to select then. And just unclick it and you can manipulate it some more. So let me show it again. Add a region. You want to select something that is in a different shape of rotation. Just click Control and hold it, and you can now rotate the selection in a shape you want. When you unclick it, just move this. You can also rotate some more, and that's it. Culienzo. While we are on the M63, let me show you the Selective Color, the biggest update of this version. Why did I choose Selective Color for the Lighthouse script? It's a Photoshop tool and not from Lightroom. Well, I've been photo editing for 2 decades now, and I find the Selective Color to be the best option to manipulate the colors in your image. And I'll show you how and how easy is it to manipulate it. Let's give credit to Jürgen Terpe, because he already has a similar thing called Selective Color Correction. It's a bit overwhelming script because it has some options for masking, it has complementary colors, RGB colors, and it has luminance, saturation, and contrast sliders. So if you want to go deep with a selection of colors, I would advise using this script because it's more technical and more in-depth. The Lighthouse version is a simpler version, and it tends to be more like in Photoshop. Let me show you how it works. First, the drop-down menu, you will select the color you want to change in your image. We have reds, greens, and blues, and complementary colors, yellows, cyans, and magentas. And that's all she wrote. Of course, you have whites, neutrals, and blacks. You can apply these colors also on the highlights, neutral tones, or the darker tones. I will show you how. So now you will select the color, and you will see the color here, so you know what color is chosen for this particular image. The method can be relative or absolute. If you are a Photoshop user, you will know the difference. You will always use relative because relative is proportional to how much the saturation moves in the pixel, and absolute gives a full slider amount. So absolute will be much stronger and useful for bigger shifts of color if you want something like that in your image. Of course, with colors it's a bit harder to select and have a perfect gradient. So we have additional sliders here: range, protect shadows, and smoothness. Here you will define the mask that you can see by clicking on Show Mask Selection. By default it's 50, 5, and 5. And now you can manipulate the range. If you go higher, it will tend to select more, but you will have some problems in the background because some of those pixels have some red. But you can protect that part of the image by raising the protect shadows, and it will protect the shadows, the darker tones, from applying the mask on those darker pixels. And you can now create your mask. Of course, you can also smooth it out to have some more of this gradiental movements in the mask. Let's say this is good enough, and remove the selection, and now we'll start manipulating the colors. So how the tool actually works. I have this example. This represents colors in your astro image. You have some reds, you have some blues, and you have some green yellow tones. And how it works, you can know some color theory and you can know how mixing colors affect the main color, but you don't have to know that. I want to make this as simplistic as I can because this should be fun and not stressful and boring. So, if you want to change a color, you just play with the sliders. Easy as that. So, you want to select a color. I want to select a red color in my image. This is red. You can see this is red. Okay, let's select the reds and let's leave it on relative and see what happens. Let's say we did the masking and it's all great. So, if I move the first slider, the cyan slider, to the left, what will happen? You will tend to have more red in already red tones. So we are adding red to red. That's how it does it. And if you're moving to the right side on the cyan, it will add cyan to the red and it will wash out the saturation of the red. The best way is to look what's happening in the image. That's the best way of manipulating color. So we are adding red and we are taking away red. Okay, let's see what magenta does. We want to add some green and we are now having some strange brown color when we are adding green to the red. We are adding green to this red, actually. And when we are adding magenta, the red will be turning more magenta or purple. Here is purple and here is magenta. We are adding the magenta color in our red tones. This is, for instance, helpful when you have H alpha and it's a bit not that red. You can add some magenta to it to make it more accurate to the real red of the H alpha signal. Okay, and now the last yellow, we add yellow to our red, we are turning the red into orange. And if we are adding blue to the red, we are turning it into purple. And the last slider is black point, so we can brighten it and we can lower the brightness. Because we have this clicked, preserve luminance, we are not changing the brightness of the color, we are just changing the color itself without any luminance effect. We can change that with this slider. We can add lightness to the red to have it pop out, but we will lose saturation. So we can add this and maybe have some more saturation, but it's too light now. We can move it to the right side and now we have some more saturation, but it will go darker. And that is essentially it. Just playing with the sliders and see what's happening in the image. Okay, let me now adjust the reds. I don't want this color, I want it more saturated with some addition of magenta. No, I don't want orange. Okay, I'm liking this color. You see, I didn't know what color I wanted, but I saw it on my image, and this is color that I want. To show before after, this is the color in your image, and this is the effect I did. It's small, but it makes a big difference. So we change the reds. I want to change the blues now. So select the blues from the drop-down menu. Okay. And now, again, play with the sliders. What happens when we are adding red to the blues? The blues are... I don't know what color that is. They're changing the blues to some strange color, and we are adding the cyan. It will tend to have some cyan look to it. It's still blue, but I see the cyan. It's great for oxygen because the oxygen is not pure blue. It has some cyan and greens in the oxygen. Okay. What if I add green to the blues? Almost the same effect as the reds. And if I add purple, sorry, magenta, we will have some magenta effect. These are subtle changes. That's why the selective color is great, because those subtle changes will make a great effect, because you will add it up. You will separate the colors and you will have some better contrast in colors in your image. And when you separate them by the color, then the image will pop out. So if we add blues, now we are doing the same. When we adding the reds to the red, we are raising the saturation of the blue. Of course, it's subtle. We can change to absolute, and now it will be greater. Now our red is also popping up. Let's get back to the relative, and if we add yellow to the blues, we have some very small effect of the yellows and the blues. This particular blues, you will have effect if you have different kind of blues. I'm now showing how you can manipulate the sliders to see the effects on the image. I want to have some bluish, more bluish tones, and let me just add some cyan. Okay, if I add some green, no, I don't like this. You can also change the range. The range is how much color will the effect apply on the color and the colors that are near that color. So near the blues, we can see the selection mask. It will select just this blue rectangle. Okay. And now when I go before after, we see the subtle change before after, before after. You see how our red is now more reddish and the blue is more bluish, but it's not intense. It's just subtle change. So let's do this for the last color. This is yellow, and I don't like the look of this yellow because it has some greens. Because it has some greens and we don't want greens, let's move this slider first. Let's introduce some magenta, and it's already turning into yellow. Before, after. before, after. So we are pulling out the greens out of this color and make it more yellow. But if you want to make it more yellow, we can add also yellow to it. And here it is, bright yellow. And we can show the change here. So we started with this little flat colors, red, blue and green, yellow, and we made it into this. And you already see how this pops out in a contrast, because we perceive colors with the intensity. And if I change to absolute, it will have some even harder effect. You see our change of the yellows turn to orange. So the effect is much harder. We must lower the magenta when we are using this method. But here is the same thing. Before, after. Before, after. And when we apply this to our astro images, the effect will be amazing. You'll see. Let's move to our image now. First of all, inspect your image. What colors do you see in your image? Here I can see blues, and there are different kinds of blues. You can see this blue and you can see this cyan blue. So these are two different blues. We have some yellow and brown and red, and we have even magenta on this side of the galaxy. So let's go to the selective color, and I want to change the blues because I want some jazz. Okay, and now play with the sliders. Don't think what you want, just play with it and see what happens. Let's introduce red into the blues. What happens? They go a bit magenta. I don't like that. If we introduce some cyan, you see the star goes, the diffraction goes into cyan mode, and we have some cyan also here. I don't like that also. If I add some magenta into blues, okay, it's very magentic and I don't like that. If we add green, green is not something I want. And let's move to the blues. I want to enhance the blues. Okay, I'm liking this, especially this star, because it had some cyan in the diffraction spikes, and now it's a bit better. Okay, we can widen the range and see what happens, and we can also do the other way around. But okay, let's say I'm happy with this. Let's go to the magentas, and I want to lower down these magentas on the edge of the galaxy. So we have magenta here, so if we are going to remove the magenta, I go to the greens. Now we are introducing greens into, let me show you the mask. So this is the mask for magenta. Maybe the mask is not that great. We can improve it. Bit of range. Okay. Maybe protect some shadows. Maybe even more range. Not that many, but it's there. Oh, this is too much. Protect the shadows, my man. Okay, this is fairly okay. Remove show. And now we are seeing the effect already. Before, after. Before, after. Nothing is turning green because we are adding green into magenta color, as you can see. That's how I get rid of the magenta. But magenta is probably H alpha in this galaxy, so you don't want to remove it all the way. But let's say you want to remove magenta, this will be the way. This is the way, as Wood Mandalorian said. And now let's move on to the yellows. What we want with the yellows? I don't know. Let's introduce reds to the yellows and see what it does. Okay. I'm liking this effect. You can always go to show preview to see the effects. They are very subtle now. And that's the way of the select color. They are subtle, but they add up. Let me introduce some yellows into those yellows. Maybe it's too much. And if we introduce magenta to the yellows, we have some more of some orange effect. And this is something you don't want. You see how it looks. You don't have to know colors to see it. And this is a bit green, so I don't like it. If you're new to this, you will play with the sliders, and after a time you will know exactly what the slider does to a color, because you get used to it and you already know the effect that will this slider have on a particular color, and you don't have to know any color theory for that. So that's how easy it is. Okay, let me select the reds to see if there are any. And if we move this slider, okay, now we are getting really weird in the center, but you can see the effect of the contrast. And if we move out to the absolute, you will see the effect even more. Before, after. Let me just zoom out. Before, after. Before, after. Before, after. No artifacts, just simple color changes. I like the relative effect more. So you see the magenta is around the corner here, and when we are showing the preview, it tends to disappear and have a more natural look to it. I'm liking this. Perfectamundo. Beautiful. I like it. Apply it and move on to the another thing. Now let's say you want to add some color to this nebula, Tadpole. It's in HOO color palette and the colors are not that strong. So let's see what colors do we have. We have blue and we have some orange, red, yellow. What is that? Okay, let's see the reds selection. Okay, we have some reds. I want to add some smoothness to it. Maybe select some more reds to see how much do I have. We don't have to protect shadow because there is none. Okay, let's move some smoothness some more. Okay, let's say this is good enough. Remove the selection mask. And now I want to add some reds to the reds. And now we have some saturation of this orange color. If we add magenta, we will have some very not nice effect. If we add some yellow, We will go to more yellow, and the effect is maybe too strong for my taste. And now we can even brighten it, moving this slider to the left, so we have some separation. Before, after, before, after. It's already looking better. Let's move to the blues and see the mask. Okay, you see now we have blues and the dark tones also. Let's see if we protect the shadows, what will happen. Okay, great. Now we remove the mask from those black tones. Let me show you. These tones are a bit bluish because of this HOO effect, and we want to affect just these blues. And that's why we have protect shadows slider. We can raise the smoothness now to smoothen out this selection, and remove show selection mask and see. Now play with the sliders. What this does, it adds cyan to the blues. I don't want that. I don't like those cyans. I do like it. Yeah. Okay, let's see if this is good. Let me add some blues into blues. You can't get enough of blues. This is maybe too much. And if we go to lighten it, we'll have this effect. And now we can go to before, after, before, after. You see how the contrast has risen because we change the colors. Okay, we did change some luminance of the colors, but but that's how the tool works. You do have to have colors in your image, and I will add HSL into the script, but this was on the plan earlier, so next version I think we will have the HSL, so you can boost the saturation even more and it will mimic the Lightroom HSL. I hope. And the final thing you can do changing the colors are selecting the whites, neutrals or blacks. When you select the whites, it will create a mask in highlighted areas. You can see the mask by pressing show selection mask, and you can see the only light pixels will be chosen. If we go to neutrals, the midtones will be selected, and if we go to blacks, only the black pixels will be selected. The range and the protect shadows don't have a point here because we don't have a color. We have a mask of the darker pixels here. Only the smoothness will be available for this. So when we select, let's say, blacks, remove the shadow, and we have some blues in the darks. I want to make those blues go away. So we will choose the yellow slider and add yellow into the blue. Maybe too much. And we can even out the background. You can see now before, after. Easy as that. If we have some differences in the white tones, let me zoom in, and we want to add color in this white parts of the image. Okay, let's add some color here. Well, you can see we are adding cyan to this bright part of the image because we are on the whites. We are just adding color to these different luminosity levels of the image, not affecting the colors itself. Before, after, before, after. And the neutrals, if you have some color cast, okay, let me see the blacks. Let me reset the black and go to the neutrals. Let's say you have some blue overcast. Now you can also move this slider to the right and have some more neutrals in the midtones. Okay, we don't affect the black tones because we have only selected the midtone, and that's all this. This is good just for making this correction for any color cast that you might have in the final image version. As you can see, we have some blue color cast here, before, after, before, after, and we tone it down, added some yellows to those blue tones. This will be it for this update. I hope you will like it. Comment, like, subscribe, and see you in another one. So bye bye.